All right, so we are back, and I mean we are back in the USA, back at home, back on the channel. I am so pumped to be back. Finally got real coffee for the first time in a while, and I know you guys are gonna say, we have Starbucks in the UK too, mates. But it just ain't the same, and it hits different like KSI when he's tired. And that's kind of leads into today's video, things hitting different, because KSI and Joe Fournier just got announced. And like I said, he's just hitting different, and it's a problem. And don't worry, I'm gonna explain why, because as you guys know by now, I'm gonna give my opinion regardless of who's watching. But before I do that, and speaking of a fight heading your way, if you don't want to wait for KSI to take on Joe Fournier, why don't you try to come find your boy Wade and get into a rumble while we play the sponsor of today's video, Raid Shadow Legends. Okay guys, picture this scene. You got yourself a brand new mobile phone and you're looking for the best mobile game to play. Well, enter Raid Shadow Legends. It's got awesome visuals, powerful champions, challenging PvE bosses, and tactical PvP content, but wait, there's more. And if you don't understand why already that Raid is the best game on mobile, let me spell it out for you using the word itself, R. It's got regular updates and content keeps flowing. You'll never be bored with this game. A, arena. You guys get to test your skills against other players, test your strength, your ability, all that in the arena. I have to tell you, the index of this game is complete with all of your favorite champions. You can see what they are, what their skills are like, and effective counter strategies. D, or Demon Lord, is a powerful clan boss, a massive challenge, and a perfect way to earn daily resources like shards and gems. And with all that being said, it's time to celebrate, because this is Raid's 4th year anniversary, and there's a ton to get excited about. I'm talking dedicated offers, free gifts, promo codes, events, and a brand new anniversary themed legendary champion. So you're gonna wanna take advantage of one of two bonuses. One for brand new players. You're gonna use the link in the description or scan the QR code here on screen, like energy refills, magic potions, XP brews, not to mention the epic champion Kellen the Shrike. And bonus number 2 is for all existing and new players, and that is a ton of free birthday gifts. So once you're in game, after clicking the link below or using the QR code, you're gonna wanna enter the promo code 4YearsRaid to get your hands on 4 legendary skill tomes and a ton of other useful stuff. It's simple. And guys, once you're in the game and you're crushing it, come and find me. And if you're fast enough, maybe you can join my clan. So hit the link in the description and I will see you on the battlefield. So like I said, KSI is fighting Joe Fournier May 13th, Misfits number 7, and his new sparring footage is a problem, but maybe not for KSI. So just like I was about to do on day number 30 in Swansea, Wales, because the rain was coming down, there was no sunshine, and my emotions were getting the best of me, it's time for the breakdown. Let's go. All right, so like I said, KSI, Joe Fournier, that's going down May 13th. And to be honest with you guys, I kind of knew this fight was happening because of what was going on with Tyron Woodley not being able to get him signed to Misfits, and the fact that he was asking for a lot of money that, quite frankly, I don't know how much value he would bring for the money he wanted. And while a lot of people wanted that fight, myself included, for KSI, that real test, he does have one in front of him with Joe Fournier. This will be the best boxer that KSI has ever faced. Although I do find it funny that everyone is referring to Joe Fournier as KSI fighting 9-0 pro boxer and not KSI fighting Joe Fournier. That's done for a couple of reasons. One, most people don't know who Joe Fournier is. And two, it does bolster the idea that KSI is fighting a legitimate pro, which Joe on paper is, so I understand this fight. It makes sense for what he's trying to do, and again, him getting to Jake is the ultimate goal, so as far as preparing him, that's probably going to happen more in camp, so it doesn't really matter who he fought anyway. I just think everyone wants to see him get that test before he steps in with Jake. And speaking of that test, let's take a look at this sparring footage where KSI is sparring 12-0 pro Idris Virgo, which, by the way, Idris continues to say he's not a pro boxer anymore, he's an influencer boxer, and that his pro record means nothing, and he's trying to fight people like, well, Joe Weller. I don't get it. We all know Idris is talented, and this spar is going to show that, but I want to talk about the caption KSI put on this spar, and this is part of the reason that I don't think this spar tells the story of what's actually happening with KSI in camp right now, but let's read it. It says, me sparring 12-0 pro Idris Virgo. This is what I got to do to prepare for my next fight on May 13th. I'm not taking Joe Fournier lightly. That I 100% agree with. KSI never takes any opponent lightly. There's not a guy that KSI does not prepare for like it's Floyd Mayweather standing in front of him. He's gonna work his fucking ass off, and he's doing that in camp. Again, this footage has been put out on purpose, and it's to show KSI working hard, but also it's to take some of the shine off how much better he's getting. Again, I'll explain. I'm not taking Joe Fournier lightly, especially since he's a 9-0 pro. The odds are stacked against me. He's a better boxer than me and has more experience than me. Plus, I know if I lose this, Jake Paul and his fans are going to have a field day. May 13th, I'll put my all into it and will hopefully not let you down. Again, see the verbiage here, right? If I lose this, Jake Paul and his fans are going to have a field day. I will put my all into it and hopefully won't let you guys down. JJ doesn't talk like this. He is an uber confident individual that every time he signs his name on the dotted line, absolutely and wholeheartedly thinks, knows, and is going to will himself to victory. So why is he saying that? I got a theory, but let's take a look at the farting footage. Fuck me. The farting footage. Leo, keep that in. I got a theory, but let's take a look at the sparring footage and I'll explain.
Let's go. Let's see who wins the round. Let's go. Break clean. Go. Go. Look. Look.
Woo, good shot.
Look. Don't wait, JJ. Good shit.
Hey.
Put it in. Let's go.
Oh, put it in. Let's go. Hey, yo, hold on a second. You looking for another round of something else, buddy? All right, no, but seriously, first watch on this, it looks like this is one of JJ's last rounds of sparring. Idris is putting a lot of pressure on him and working inside the clinch a little more, and JJ is having a hard time separating and letting go at first, and JJ's obviously super tired and his punches don't have a ton behind him. But I want to make sure you guys see two things here. What exactly is happening and what it is they're trying to show you, the message as to why this is public. JJ has a nice underhook here, but the problem in boxing with underhooks is that you give up top position, right? So immediately JJ is allowing Idris to weigh on him, and Idris is a big guy. I know that he fights a little smaller and he cuts some weight, but he's a big dude, muscled up. Again, I thought he should have played in the fucking Creed movie. That's how jacked this motherfucker is. But again, JJ having that underhook allows Idris to kind of lay that weight on top of him.
Go.
And he's having to see that. He's trying to hold that weight. That's just more weight, and a veteran understanding body position. JJ here either needs to take that back arm and swim out and get the overhook and turn his head to the other side and try to get his body weight on Idris, or separate here because he's in a bad spot. Even though, yes, he can land this uppercut, he's just getting weight put on him and it's making him more tired.
Let's go. Break clean. Go.
On the break, you see Idris throw the uppercut, and JJ's taking steps kind of directly back here. Again, he's dead tired. This is not a guy that in any way has got much left in the tank, so he's just trying to survive here.
Break clean. Go.
And Idris is coming after him. I do like that they're putting him in these kind of positions because you have to respond here, right? Even when the technique is gone, even when he's not having success, he has to be able to respond because he's been put in positions in previous fights where he's been dead tired, but he hasn't been put in those positions when the person is following up and throwing heat. Idris does this here, and again, it's a good position to put him in to see how he's going to react. Idris comes after him again, and you see immediately Idris goes to the overhook. Again, another reason for JJ to understand that over-under position. And again, him being at shoot fighters, they will and probably already have started to teach him this. But underhooks in boxing are not as effective as they would be in other martial arts because you can't really do much there, right? Your arm is kind of pinned. You can maybe try to swim that underhook and reposition your hips to try to break out of range and throw the hook to the body or the uppercut upstairs, but outside of that, he again is getting weight put on him and he's having to hold it. Now here's a big shot from Idris. Boom. And the reason that happens is because JJ here, he separates, but he doesn't separate and fire, and he doesn't get to a safe range. Where Idris is still locked and loaded, he's throwing with some oomph behind his shot. You see this lead uppercut come straight through the solar plexus where KSI standing flat-footed squared up. And yeah, he wants to throw his uppercut as well, but there's nothing behind it, no speed or power. And because he's not throwing it properly, there isn't the technique that Idris shows in his. He gets to the spot first. Boom, and lands it flush. Credit to JJ for taking it, but that's a hard shot. And again, he goes to it. JJ's doing a lot of bending over at the waist here because he's tired. I can't explain to you enough how fucking exhausting it is to go round after round after round, even 2 rounds for people that are unexperienced. I want to say this is potentially round 7 or 8. JJ is showing you his absolute worst here. And again, keep that in mind. He is showing you his worst. It's what he wants you to see. It's what he wants, maybe not even you guys to see, but maybe someone named Joe.
Wait, JJ.
This is good stuff from KSI. This is nice. But again, there's not a lot of power behind it because he doesn't have much left in the tank, but this is a good shift out of range. So what he does here, finally he implements the overhook, where he was getting overhooked by Idris Virgo over and over and over on this lead hand. He finally ties that glove with the overhook, and now he can pull, shift, and then throw his left hand and his right hand because he does have that lane to the outside now, whereas when Idris had that overhook, KSI couldn't really go anywhere. He had nothing to grip onto and move. He was getting controlled with that overhook. Now KSI has it, He turns off of it, still pinning. And right here, to be honest, when he lands, and again, I don't like that both feet are off the ground, because if he doesn't have this hand pinned, he can get cracked with a shot. But when he does land, that is when this uppercut needs to go. Because look at this extension from Idris Virgo. The shot is underneath you, right? Where Idris was taking advantage of those uppercuts off the break because both guys have their levels low. JJ needs to do the same thing here. He goes to the left hook, doesn't really get there, but again, even here, look at how low the level is for Idris Virgo. JJ needs to run that uppercut like Mario jumping to get a fucking one-up mushroom and detonate that bitch right on his chin. But again, he goes to the right hand here, which does land, but he throws it falling away because his weight is being pulled back. If he stands there and bang, throws that uppercut underneath, that's going to have far more impact. But once again, it does show you JJ is understanding a little bit more about how to work in the clinch. It's just not connecting all the dots just yet.
Good shit.
Tries to go underneath there, doesn't quite get it. That's one, but again, Idris just eats that to throw his own. Lands some big ones.
Put it in, let's go.
Okay, so let's talk about what we're really seeing here, because I think people are confused as to why JJ put this out. See, I've looked on Twitter, and some of the comments are saying, oh, still doesn't know how to box, still trash, still whatever. And you guys aren't reading what's actually being written here. JJ isn't showing you guys, like I said, the best of him. And again, he's not even showing it to you. He's showing it to Joe. You're getting the worst JJ at his worst, at his most vulnerable, at his most tired, weak, and just trying to survive. And yeah, sure, you can say there should never be a point in his sparring where he is this tired, or he is this vulnerable, or he is getting ate up this much. But again, if you don't put him in positions where he's uncomfortable, if he's not in positions where he's able to start to work through in his mind and physically different obstacles, he's never going to know how to react if he's in those positions. Think about JJ's fight. The Logan fight number 1. When he was tired, he went on offense and was able to push Logan to the brink and be offensive. Logan 2, same thing happened. They both were tired, but Logan was not the aggressor. Logan wasn't able to push him back, wasn't able to give him shots and continue rolling through. He hasn't had to face anywhere near that kind of adversity in his last 3 fights, so it's been about 4 years since he really had someone push him under the lights. This is perfect for what he needs to prepare for, because Joe is more experienced than those guys. And while I've said it on record, I don't think that Joe is going to present many problems to KSI. As a technical boxer, he may, but JJ's speed, his athleticism, his power, and there is more growing technique here is going to be enough, in my opinion, to get Joe out of there. But the framing of this is what I'm trying to get you to look at. JJ did not put out the best of him on purpose. He's not putting out him being successful in sparring on purpose. I can guarantee you that we could pull clips from this same sparring session and others where JJ is working on offense, even against guys like Idris, where he's having some success because he's gotten better, and even more than maybe some of you guys want to admit. Again, let's go back to the caption. He's a better boxer than me. I just hope to make you guys proud. Jake Paul and his fans are going to clown on me if I lose. These are things that, again, KSI never says. But Joe Fournier may have cottoned on to this because he's come out and said he thinks this spar is fake. Now, if anybody would know anything about fake sparring footage, it'd be this mofo Average Joe, where he's hiring somewhat competent boxers to come to a spar, telling them midway through, hey, I'm going to throw this right hand and I'm going to need you to drop to your knees like you're at the altar in church. That man is faking sparring footage. What KSI is doing here, there's nothing fake about it, but the reason that Joe is saying it's fake, the premise behind it, that does make sense. Him saying that KSI is putting this out to make himself look vulnerable, to make himself look like he's not a match for Joe Fournier, or that Joe potentially is better than KSI based specifically on this footage. That is the message. KSI is essentially, maybe not even trying to, but the way it turns out, building Joe and diminishing himself in the public eye by putting this footage out. I can guarantee you that JJ is better than this. This should tell Joe Fournier JJ is putting in every single ounce of blood, sweat, and tears into his camp, and you look at Joe doing the fake sparring footage, the actual fake stuff, and you start to wonder, are you doing the same? Because I can guarantee you, if Joe Fournier is not preparing like he's about to fight David Haye, not the thing he did last time where him and David agreed to have a hopscotch competition and maybe throw punches every now and then. I mean, really go in and fight KSI and treat him just as seriously as KSI is treating Joe. He's going to be in for a surprise, and it's not going to be ones where the girls come out with the bedazzles at his nightclub and celebrate the fact that he closed on a new gym in Miami and he's going to build a new real estate infrastructure. Does this guy even box? Anyway, you get my point. Joe better be taking KSI seriously, because yes, he is a 9-0 pro. Yes, he does have some legitimate skill that KSI hasn't seen as a boxer. And yes, I do think this will be KSI's toughest test to date. But if Joe Fournier thinks KSI is faking sparring footage, or he thinks that in some way this footage represents that KSI is not ready for him, he's sadly mistaken. KSI is a work in progress. He's not a great boxer, but he's never claimed to be, and to beat Joe Fournier, he doesn't even have to be the better boxer. What he has to do is push himself to get better, and that's what this footage shows me. So either way, there's a problem between Joe and KSI. KSI has to fix some holes in his game, but Joe Fournier needs to understand this is not another setup win like every one of the other 9 he has. This is a real fight, and ultimately between two guys that have enough money to probably save world hunger if they put it together. Outside of that, who's willing to dedicate themselves more and who wants this fight more? I don't have those answers, but on May 13th, Misfits number 7 in the main event, I guess we'll find out.